We are very fortunate to have Scott here tonight, Scott Straw, KB4KBS, as our field day chairman. It is a challenge to have someone to step forward to do field day for this club. Not because so much that it's difficult, but that it's quite an endeavor, all-encompassing with food and antennas and setup and all the things that we do. You've been there, you know, we do it right, we do it big time. And Scott has done it before with great success, so we're lucky that we have him here. He's very knowledgeable in the logistics of it. He knows, he does all types of modes and operating. Field day and on his own in contests, CW, digital, sideband, so I will let him take over now. But Scott, we thank you very much for stepping forward and leading us, and he'll tell us all the great things we're going to do.
Hey Steve, if you choose input 2 on the projector, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, I didn't get it hooked up. So.
I know. It's just like me to, let's see if I can make this thing come alive now. If not, we'll go to plan B.
Do you want the lights dim?
Yes, sir. Y'all promised not to go to sleep.
Did you plug the dongle in?
Yes, I did. It was right here. And, all right. So let's go back up, and now we'll start here. So this is my meeting, the Reasons Statistical Treatise on the Requirements for being the Class A 3A winner for Field Day 2018. Gary, probably something you're used to reading in your line of work, big, thick, statistical, something or other. And you know, how many of you went to your first field day sometime between 2003 and 2017? And you remember these? How many of you were at the first field day? I mean, Jim, maybe you were. 1933. But if you've never been to a field day, 2018 is the one for you. So I want to take a timeout because I have lots of notes that, never mind, y'all just have to bear with me here. We're going to rely upon our notes. As he said, I was asked in 2017 to be the field day chairman, and my response was, I have a better idea. Ask around and see if someone else will do it. Don't be afraid to use the threat. If you don't do it, we're going to get Scott Straw to do it. Evidently, that threat didn't work, so here I am.
Do you want the lights back on so you can actually read that?
No, I'm fine. Thank you. All of my slides are very bright, so. But if I can do a little tech talk real quick, can you squeeze down the lens
Maybe.
to do a, will it squeeze?
Yeah.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Very good. Now, that's not so small that you won't be able to read it, even though I do have a lot of numbers on it. I've asked several people to help me so far along the way, but I'm going to need a lot more help. This is the first time tonight you're going to be told at the 2 card tables that you can't get out without going by. There are sign-up sheets, and I would ask you to sign up and help out the go-to station. I got to learn to move this in the right direction. All right, 2016 again. Unlicensed operators operating here, a lot of KMs working here, 60 digitals, some 40s, some 20s, and look at how those bonuses add up. We made over 1,000 points. Last year, we didn't do so well, but you know what? Now we got something to build on. But we had a couple of 20s, and so here we go. This is where we can really rack up points, is with our go-to station. And I don't see him here. Colby.
He's not here.
Okay. Colby has been such a good boy. His mother has decided to reward him with a very special privilege of operating all night at field day with her on the go-to station. So, go Colby, go. Go Colby, go. But he can't do it by himself. We're going to need some other help. So we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. All right, let's jump on through the satellite 6 meter. Boom, boom, boom. All right, 2015, 2016, 2017. Our numbers are growing as we go along. The satellites are going along. But where could we use some help? CW, digital. So with the satellites, when they go passing by, you got all these people screaming with their microphones trying to make QSOs, but there's also a little segment down at the bottom for Morse code. So we can get down there and we start pounding CQ, and we can work 2-point QSOs as those satellites go by, and we'll have plenty of people to answer because there'll be, I don't know, a few dozen operators versus 60, 3 dozen, 5 dozen voice operators trying to work a bird when it comes over. So the number of birds we'll have to be able to use, I think it's supposed to be a pretty good year for it. I'll defer to my satellite experts, and it may be too early to tell. But we can't afford to miss any of them. So any passes that have enough rise above the horizon as they come up and go across and go down, that we can get those antennas on, we want to work them, and we want to work them with Morse code if we can. All right, 6 meters. If you're a technician class, you can operate 6 meters. I mean, you can go at it. When we open up 6 meters, they call it the magic band. The reason is sometimes it does not open. You can't call across 10. You couldn't call Norcross on 6 meters. Sometimes you call CQ on 6 meters, and somebody in Argentina or Africa or Europe or California or someplace or Russia comes back to you on 6 meters. It's a magic band. You never know what it's going to do. When it opens up, we've got to jump on it. We need to be constantly calling CQ, and need to be watching that little scope, and we got to be ready when it opens up. Finally, we'll talk about bonus points. And I didn't wear a watch, so we're going to go as long as it takes. Bonus points. There are some gimme points. They're not free. We got to work to earn them, but they're low-hanging fruit. We get 100 bonus points for every one of our Class 3A stations that operates on a generator. So there's 300 points. Boom. Didn't really have to do much other than what we were going to do anyway. Medium publicity. All we've got to do is make up a press release. It doesn't have to be published anywhere. Just do a press release.
You got to send it out.
Well, yeah, sure, send it out. You know, send it out to Fox and to WSB and to Channel 46, and they're going to.
Not for me.
We'll put my coffee mug on that. But hey, we got the 100 points. We're in a public location. Duh. That's 100 points just by being at the park. We're going to have a public information table where everybody signs in. We'll have some brochures in a little rack. You know, that's a public information table. You know what else is a public information table? The table with all the food on it, where people come up and people sitting down there and they say, "What's going on here?" And somebody who's a ham, who's in the know, tells them, "He's John Q. Public. You're giving information." Sounds like a public information table to me. All right. We're going to do a Boy Scout merit badge. Now, we're a little behind the 8 ball. John's been traveling a lot, as you can imagine, with all the weather we've had. But we are going to have a Boy Scout merit badge clinic. And because we're having an educational activity, boom, 100 points. All right. Post-event score submission via the website. I mean, once we get all I have to do is just fill out the form online, submit it, which I'll take care of, or Steve will get you to help out with this year. Boom, done. So that's 50 points. If we have 5 operators under the age of 18 at 20 points each, 100 points, boom, we're done. Hey, we're all social media savvy. We all have a Facebook account. Hopefully we're all a member of the North Fulton Facebook group. Talk about Facebook on our Facebook page. Boom, 100 points. And the much needed safety officer we're talking about. Somebody's got some shoes to fill because Tim was a very good safety officer. He was not brutal, but he was firm. He made sure you're hydrated. He made sure nobody got electrocuted. The basic job for a safety officer is to make sure everybody's safe and hydrated. And kind of look out for things, but mostly keep an eye on the sky. The safety officer has the most important job of being aware of what weather we've got coming in. And it's June, you never know, afternoon thunder rumblers come busting in. He is the one who says, we shut down. I can't overrule him. Nobody else can overrule him. That's the man. Safety officer says, it's not safe, we're shutting down. Now, he's also the one that says, danger's past, let's get at it again. So, safety officer has a very important role in making sure that we don't get electrocuted, we don't get lightning bolted, we don't get blown up with improper fueling of our generators, or any of those other silly things. We don't go running around with tent stays in the way. We need a safety officer. There's a sign-up sheet in the back. I've got a safety officer and an alternate. I'll take 2, please. Not because it's 100 points, but because it's the right thing to do. We need somebody just to say, look, I know the difference between running with scissors and walking. I'll take care of that job. All right. Now, last year we started a tradition that I hope we carry on for a long time. Our Norfolk and Aries group has been very helpful with taking care of these 3 categories. 300 points, boom. If you are not operating and you wander over by where the guys are set up, send a National Traffic System message to a buddy of yours. It can be having a wonderful time, glad you're not here. I don't care. Just send an NTS message. We get 10 of those messages at 10 points each, 100. The ARRL Field Day Bulletin, they send it out on Friday, and maybe Wednesday, Thursday.
Friday,
We get a
Saturday.
copy of that, add it to our collection of documents that we submit, 100 points. We set up all that satellite gear. We go to a lot of trouble. We better get at least 1 QSO. Boom, 100 points. Excuse me. Every year we set up a battery that we charge on a solar cell. And we hook it up to one of our CW stations, and we make 5 QSOs. We don't even reduce the power from 100 watts. We just hook it up to a battery, boom, 5 QSOs with a battery that's been charged off a solar cell, 100 points. All right. I don't see N4 SEC here, Jim Payne, our thankfully retired politician, but he still has a lot of crony friends who are elected officials. And this is an election year, and so there's a good chance that they may come because they will have been invited and snoop around looking for votes. So be kind. Shake their hand and say, we're so glad you're here. And you know, I vote for people who support ham radio and their ham radio public service activity. So if you see elected government officials, and I guess that would include candidates too, we can get 100 points just by having one of them show up.
Not for candidates.
Not for candidates?
Have to be a current officer.
Okay, all right. So, unfortunately, if they're a candidate and they're not holding an office now, if they're not the incumbent, say wave at them.
Still shake their hand. But
Don't shake their hand, just wave at them. Anyway, so, and then a represented agency. We'll have Sandy Springs and Alpharetta will show up with some of their public safety equipment, and boom, 100 points. And then finally our go-to bonus. So that's, again, I keep coming back to this is where we could really make some good points without really doing a lot of working real hard on the other stations. For the past 3 years, we did earn 1 through 16, that's 1,750 points. I hope we can get at least 400 go to bonus double points. I mean, if we can get 10 people to do 20 QSOs, we're there. There are a lot of other ways to get there, but if we can get 400 go to points, we'll be in good shape. So, Thankfully, history class is now over. What did we learn? We've had some great efforts in the past few years. Sometimes we had to operate under less than wonderful conditions. We had some rain one year. We've had some extreme heat one year. We've never had any hail or snow, but you never can tell. We've proven that we can win. We did it twice. We're going to do it again. But what it's going to take is coordinated efforts from multiple disciplines. We're going to need a boatload of CW operators pounding away at the brass. We're going to need a bunch of leather lungs on our phone station for 24 hours, knocking them out. We're going to need our satellite station with CW operators standing by. We're going to need somebody who is so transfixed on that 6-meter band scope that they don't even know what time of day it is. If they see a little spike, they're on it. So we can do it. We can do it. Because Class A is pretty competitive, as you have seen, and the winning score keeps going up, as you have seen. So we are going to need the majority of our QSOs to be of the 2-point variety. And I really haven't said a whole lot about digital. I saw something the other day, and I'm not sure how much of it. I'm going to wait and see if it kind of gathers any momentum over the next 38 days. Somebody do the math for me. Till field day? It's not that far off. About using FT8. 40? FT8. And the concept was, if you send your class, head, state in your 73 message, those of you who do FT8, you know what I'm talking about, and then they send a 73 message includes class and state, you can do an FT8 QSO for field day, and it would work. This is going to depend on whoever you answer being able to click and say, oh, he just sent 3 alpha GA. I need to send him 1 alpha RI or whatever. And so maybe we'll do some digital QSO points. Yeah, I'm not sold on it. I mean, but it's a 2-point QSO. I mean, that's kind of hard to ignore. And we have to remember that phone QSOs aren't going to go away. We're not kicking the phone station to the curb, by no means. We're going to need our phone QSOs because, I mean, I'm thinking they did 2244 last year with 2 stations. If we can do half of that, which would be, what, 1122, we can do 1150, 1200 QSOs at our phone station, we'll be sitting pretty. We've got to get our go-to station, we've got to get our satellite station, got to get our 6-meter station involved, because it's going to take all of us doing that. And we've got to get our bonus points, especially from the go-to station. So, the quick review for those of you who haven't heard this for 1,000 times, operators for the go-to station. You have to be licensed after June 24th of last year, which is the day of our QSO, of our field day this year. Generally in active ham. And that's very loosely defined. I read somewhere in a commentary where the ARRL said somebody who came home from college after several years would not be a generally inactive ham. But we can define it however we want to, and we need to be able to defend our definition. I'm comfortable saying that 2 years of no activity on VHF or at field day or on HF, that's inactive. I mean, for 2 years, you've not had any ham radio use, I'd call that inactive. It can be an unlicensed family member or friend of yours, spouse, children, grandchildren, preferably your own, not somebody's that you just picked up in a car, driving down the road, don't want to go there, we'll let that go. You have co-workers. Most of us all do kind of high-techy kinds of things, and we have co-workers who kind of do high-techy kinds of things, and maybe this might be an opportunity if you invite them out to come see what kind of high-techy, geeky things you do as a hobby when you're not at work. We need coaches. I talked about it earlier. We've got to have coaches on duty for 24 hours. 100% of the go-to QSOs to get the coach double bonus. We will keep you well fed and well hydrated if you are a coach. And if it makes a difference, we can get you an exemption from being nominated as a club officer. I'm just saying. I'm just not a lifetime, only 24 months. All right. Now, pardon me for a moment. I don't want to cough in y'all's ears. Should have hydrated myself.
You need some water or something, Scott?
Let me see how far I get. So, here's this crazy idea I had, and it may not fly, but we're going to give a go at it. The first annual NFARL Go to Field Day Challenge, featuring Mill Springs Academy, Fulton Academy of Science and Technology, and Cherokee Christian School, 3 schools with which we have a relationship that we have knowledge of having middle schoolers who are interested in ham radio, either licensed or working on a license. And North Fulton will sponsor a trophy that we will give to the winning school. I figured this might spur some interest in GOTA and get some operators. The team that generates the most points towards the GOTA station total wins the trophy. That would be our points, our bonus points, and double points all added together. The school that creates the most points wins the trophy. We'll allow licensed and unlicensed students to operate because we'll have a coach on hand. Eligible parents, meaning the generally inactive parents or unlicensed parents. Oh my goodness. You are such a lucky man. Of course, you know, if the unlicensed parents are accompanied by a student, we'll let them operate. And I think we'll even throw this out a little way. If you're not an active student at that school, but you are affiliated or a friend of one of those schools, and you want to throw your GOTA points toward that school, we'll let that happen. So, that's kind of where we're at with the GOTA station, trying to get it going. I'm going to recap real quick, and I don't have a watch, but I'm supposing we're not too far into the
Clock right there on the wall, Scott.
Look at that! Look at that! What a timely reference. All right, so our target is to top 16,000 points this year, and here's how we're going to do it. The 2 CW stations make a minimum of 3,000 QSOs for a combined total of 6,000 points. 3,000 QSOs. 2 stations, 1,500 QSOs apiece, over 24 hours. You know, somebody break down the math, but that's not that hard to do. So, there you go. Our 1 phone station make a minimum of 1,000 QSOs. Surely we can do 1,000 QSOs in 24 hours. I'd like to see that number a lot higher, but this is what we need for a minimum. And then we take those 7,000 QSO points and double them because our max power will be less than 150 watts. That gives us 14,000 points. We get 1,750 additional points from those gimme bonus points. We get our 250 GOTA contacts using phone, which we will. There we go, 16,000. That's our math, that's our pathway to 16,000 points. Anybody see a problem getting there? I mean, I think we set the bar fairly low, although we are setting it much higher than any other station has been in 3A in memorable history. So, can we go higher? I bet we can. Because, including that 16,000 points, our satellite QSOs, our 6-meter QSOs, which if we get a couple of CWs thrown into those, man, talk about being able to double up those points. Our GOTA bonus and double bonus points. I think we can do it, folks. So, now, let's talk about the rest of field day, because it's more than just a operating event where we keep score. It's a fun day filled with fellowship, hanging around, food. I want you to come to field day. Even if you don't want to operate, come to field day. You can visit with the Aries guys and find out about what it takes to be able to wear one of those sharp, stylish, snappy orange vests that everybody craves to have. You can watch CW operators sit there and basically with a keyboard and a mouse and a paddle, thank you, listening to headphones, you watch them making QSOs almost as fast as I could talk. And I'm from the South, but not really. So, you know, these guys, it's fun just to watch. It really is. But some of them get pretty cranky if you talk too loud. But we won't go there. They've got a great playground at the park. Bring your kids, slides, monkey bars, swings. So let them come play on the playground. Join us for dinner, 6 o'clock, Saturday night. Don't be late. We'll have some public safety vehicles on site you can take a look at and drool over, but not on. We'll have the satellite antennas doing their thing as they dance across the sky chasing satellites. Kind of cool to watch. They don't really move like that, but you know, you see them move, and it's kind of cool. And you can listen to the Doppler shift when they're trying to work stations. It's really kind of an interesting thing because their voice goes up and down as the Doppler shift across the band. How'd I do? Was that pretty close? All right. I talked about sending an NTS message to your friend. You know, if you want to say, go Delta Alpha Whiskey Golf Sierra on a NTS message, fine with me. Let's do it. Learn about 6 meters. Watch that little map with the guy who's on duty. And if he starts to nod off, point at it when you see a little spike on the screen. You know, I talk on the ham radio with the 2 meter repeater a lot. And there's some of you that I've talked to, N17TO. We talk all the time. I don't think we've ever seen each other face to face. What a great opportunity to have eyeball QSOs with people. Sorry, Jim. I didn't mean to point you out and make you feel bad, but you know, it's the truth. We talk to folks all the time, and we know about them, their jobs, their families, their pets. We don't know what they look like. Let's go have an eyeball QSO at field day. One of the other things we learn about is something called gray line. Now, we're not talking about this gray line, guys. We're talking about the gray line between sunrise and sunset and how important that is for getting our QSOs and making sure that we're pointing our antennas in the right direction and we're ready on the right band at the right time as the sun rises and sun sets. We're going to have a bang-up breakfast on Sunday morning. So if you want to rise early and come eat breakfast with us, we'd love to have you. And of course, once all the fun's over, the real fun begins because we get to tear it all down and put it all away. And you think, man, that's a lot of hard work. It's really not. It's harder putting it up than to tearing it down. Tearing it down is easy. You just unloose the rope, let the antenna come down, throw all the gear in the boxes. You don't have to worry about making sure all the cables are dressed the right way. You just nicely and neatly and carefully unplug them, coil them up, put them aside, put them in the bag. Tear down is a lot easier than you think it is, but it does take a lot of hands. So come help us with tear down on Sunday afternoon. The green flag drops at 2 o'clock on Saturday, and checkered flag waves at 2 o'clock on Sunday. So we'll need some help. Come and stay all day, and then come back on Sunday and help us tear down. All right, so this is the club event. We're going to need the entire club involved. Leading up to it, the week of, June 18 to 22, I've got one person to go up to retrieve the generator that we need. I'm going to probably need somebody to help me who, I've talked the battery dead, haven't I? We're going to have somebody help return it probably on Sunday afternoon. So if you have a truck capable of pulling a trailer and would like to volunteer for that, there's a sign up for you back there on the table. We're going to need 4 to 6 people to load supplies out of the used storage warehouse at the home of W4QO. And we'll need to stage that in vehicles, either Jim's vehicle or other vehicles, so it can all get moved to field day site. I'm looking at doing that maybe on the Wednesday before either before or after Hungry Hams on Wednesday. Of course, we got to coordinate with the landlord, but that's what I'd like to have us do. On Friday, we're going to need 2 people to go to the pavilion, kind of sweep it out, clean it up, make sure it's ready to go. Do some pest eradication with some sprays and some ant bait and other things that will kind of keep the area hospitable for all of us to come and eat food for the weekend. And also want to verify the power and the grills and all that stuff. Yes, sir.
I'm going to make a recommendation.
Yes, sir.
Verify the power in the pavilion before Friday, June 22nd, because you're going to have a hard time getting the parks folks to want to come out Friday night or Saturday to fix anything.
All right. Well, I will put that on my list. That may be one of our things we do.
That should probably
in
be
the
like
week
a
leading up to
Wednesday,
it.
yeah.
So, but we'll just make sure that it's all there and all good, and that no vandals have stolen the grills. So, now, we're also going to need 2 people to help with our campus creation. We get some cones and some tape. I was gifted with some surveyor's tape. We can tape off some areas so that we won't have dangerous people walking in car lanes and cars walking in people lanes. So we'll need some folks to help with that and help guide where we're going to place our tents and tables and chairs. Those of you who've operated GOTA before, it's traditionally been under the pavilion. It's getting a new home this year. It's going to move to the other end of the playground area. And the SSB station will be not too far away from it in that same area, kind of near where the bathhouse is, but far enough away that the odor doesn't travel that far and it'll be fine. So that's sort of where we're moving, and that way we've got more room under the pavilion for food and fellowship. So we need some help getting the tents and the tables and the chairs set up. We're going to start at 8 o'clock doing antenna installation. Our antenna czar this year is Chuck Catledge, E4CW. He has modeled and designed all of our antenna placements so for maximum efficiency and minimal interaction. We're going to have some bandpass filters in place on both CW and phone so that we'll be able to coexist amicably, if not peacefully. And we'll need some folks to help get all the antennas set up. We'll need some pneumatic line launchers. If you've got those, I've got some sign-ups back there. I want you to choose GOTA or phone or CW and put your name on the list to help out with the antenna installation. We also need some projectile catchers. Once they launch those things up in the air, what goes up must come down. We need somebody to be at the other end. Usually it's tennis balls and not sharp-pointed objects, so you know, it's not that dangerous. Well, we'll work on that. If it's a bean bag, we'll just let you watch it come down, let it not hit you, but know where it lands. Excuse me. Saturday morning, registration. Every year we have roughly 200 people show up. How do I know that? Because we keep a record. We have a software program written by our own Pavilion, AC4PA, that we will be setting up, and everybody who comes in to visit, including all the scouts and all their parents and all of you and all of your friends and all of your relatives, signs in at the registration center. We're going to need 2 people to help get that set up on Saturday morning. We're going to need 4 to 6 people to help with the Boy Scout herding. You're not going to have to do any of the teaching. You just need to be able to say, you're wearing a uniform. You need to be over there. And help them get along, little doggy, to where they need to be. We're going to need 4 to 6 people to help set up the stations in the different locations. All of these are on sign-up sheets in the back of the room that you can't walk out of this room without walking by. And I bought 10 fresh new pens at the CVS. I've not tested them, so I'm going to need somebody to help me test them. I want you to put your name on those lists. All right, now we're going to have 2 people to help get little small generators. The GOTA station and the phone station you have to run on small little Honda generators. So we'll have to have somebody help set those up and make sure that they're all good to go. Commissary creation. Lynn, Ian's wife, does a fabulous job. And these people will be her helpers, making sure she's got, you know, stuff toted from the cars down to the pavilion, set it all out. And so we'll use some help. There's a sign-up slot for that back there. We're going to have a locator sign Evidently, they've jacked up the cost of sign permits in the city of Roswell to some really like $25 a sign. So we probably don't have that many signs. This is an easy job for somebody who wants an easy job. We'll just come to the site, get your sign or two, and go and place them where they're supposed to be placed. Make sure they have the proper permit on them, which we will. And then after the thing's over with on Sunday afternoon, go and retrieve them back so that they don't end up getting painted over and used to point the direction to somebody's wedding next week. All right. The Aries guys, they're probably going to be able to do their own setup, but it wouldn't hurt to be nice and friendly. Say, hey, y'all need any help setting things up? And of course, here's another thing. After the Boy Scouts have their class, then they have to make an on-the-air contact. I'm still good on time, but I'm almost through. What I would like to do this year is maybe have 3 or 4, maybe 6 handheld walkie-talkies on simplex frequencies with either Aries guys or some of you guys on one end of the parking lot while they're down at their classroom. And that way they can make a contact with you over the air on a simplex VHF or UHF frequency, fulfills their requirements for their merit badge. It's not as cool as talking to somebody in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, or Detroit, Michigan, but because we're going to have one phone station, one go-to station, and probably 35 or 40 boys and girls, because we're Scouts BSA now, that's just not really practical to run them all through, starting at 1 o'clock with our green flag dropping at 2. So stand by for more info on that. I didn't put out a sign-up sheet for that, but bring an HT, and if you're idle and you're willing, and you can answer questions from boys, like what your name is, what do you do for a living, where do you live, where have you lived, we'd love to have you help out and get that knocked out, because like I said, we've got 30 or 40 guys and girls who need to make it on-the-air contact. You know, let's make it happen. All right. Then we get to Sunday. Once we get the food all distributed after breakfast on Sunday, then we got to tear down the commissary and put things away. At 2 o'clock, then it's over. We're going to have to knock down the antennas, put them away, and then we need to break down the stations. And so here's where I'm at. At this point, I need 2 more generators. I need 3 radios, and I need another radio for GOTA. You can read this. If this fits you, and if you're of a benevolent mind to help out, contact me at my email, KB4KBS@nfarl.org, and I would appreciate it. All right. Any questions other than, how did you finish that long program of 71 slides before 8:45?
Scott,
Yes, sir.
on the GOTA station for digital, are you going to have digital this year? And it's going to be PSK, or what's it going to be?
We will make it whatever it needs to be.
Okay, if it's FTA, we will know.
I will work with our manager, or custodian of our laptops to make sure that we have the proper software available to us. Probably will be FL Digi, because it will interface with N1MM very easily. That's my preference. If we do decide to go after some FT8, we'll use WJTX, whatever the latest version is.
Do we get 2 points for those contacts?
Yes.
We don't.
Yes, we do. Yes, sir, Steve.
Just a point, anybody that thinks Sunday afternoon is going to be a long, dragged out operation, normally 2.5, 3 hours maximum. Everything is buttoned up and most of it's on its way back
Yes.
to its storage.
If you're on site at 4 o'clock, it's by your own choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not because you have to be.
With enough folks there, it comes down real fast.
Yes.
In the past, we've had enough people, we've gotten it torn down in an hour.
I don't know that I want to go for setting a new record there,
No, but just say,
but Hey, I'm all about setting new standards.
Hey, just another comment about tearing down. Scott's experienced this in the past. I've experienced this in the past. The other people that have headed field day for us have experienced it. Everybody likes to come, everybody likes to have fun, and then everybody disappears at 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. And the people left behind to tear down are the people that have been there for 36 hours and really could use the help. So if you're not doing anything at 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon and you haven't been at field day all weekend long and you're looking for a way to contribute, come help drop the loops and wind them on their spools, or help sweep the pavilion and pack what's left of the food up to go to the fire station. We give the leftover food to the folks at Roswell Fire Station 1. You know, the more of us that get there and do it, the quicker it happens, and we're all back home in the air conditioning, you know, in our cozy armchairs for the 3:30 p.m. 10 meter net. So
You might even be back in
Yeah.
time to hear Timothy Miller sing God Bless America on the Braves game. I mean, we can only hope. Yes, sir, Jim.
I'd like to make a couple of comments, maybe to provide a little historical perspective. I think a lot of us here, or some of us here may think that trying to get number 1 in Class 3A is something we can just get it done. There are over 300 clubs that enter Class 3A. It's the most, I believe, the most populous category is 3A. It takes a whale of a lot of effort. I've been doing field day since my first one in 1958.
It wasn't 33, it was 58.
It wasn't 33, I missed that one. I've been doing it since 1958. I've never been in another club that has placed even in the top quarter of the scores in whatever category they're in. And that really kind of ties into the second part of this. One of the real secrets of all of this is you've got to have all those seats filled for the whole 24 hours. A huge number of clubs, including the one I had was with in 1958, you know, they come out on Saturday afternoon, they set up and operate a while, gets dark, they might have a campfire or something and, you know, dinner. It gets dark, they all pack it up and go home. Or they go home and then they come back Sunday morning for 10 o'clock or something. That's just the real true emergency aspect of field day, is to have round the clock, because when you have an emergency, you don't get to pack up and go home when it gets dark. You have to have people in those chairs all 24 hours. It's going to be quite a challenge this year to have CW operators in 2 stations 24 hours, but we're going to work at it. Which brings me to the next part. You can go to more than 1 field day. You can operate in more than 1 field day. You're not limited. If you come to our field day sometime, part-time, sign up for our part-time, you can go to another field day, visit them, see what it's like. You can operate at theirs. There's no legal problem with that. You don't even, and you don't, the people you invite over to our field day or talk to about signing up even, don't have to be a member of our club. If you had to be a member of a club to operate field day, there'd be only about half as many clubs and half as many people operating field day, because a lot of people that operate field day don't belong to a club, or they belong to a club that doesn't do field day. So you can recruit people from other clubs. We call those undocumented operators, okay? So the word ringer is not allowed, okay?
We actually had a fellow going back 3 or 4 years ago who was on vacation from up in Ohio, visiting family and friends, heard about field day, or knew it was field day, found about our club, came over, operated.
Sure.
What a great guy he was, and fabulous CW operator. It was fabulous for us because we had a great operator. It was great for him because he got to be involved in field that he didn't think he was going to be a part of. So, yeah, it's...
Now, we're 300 members in this club, okay? And probably, realistically, we get about 30 people that are really involved. That's 10%, and we get a few people that are come and visit and eat dinner and sign in and all that, which is great. But we need everybody to do something. To be a mentor at the go-to station, you don't have to be an expert at it. You have to be there to help a person answer questions. Maybe you've never even operated FT8, but they may be, the person that wants to do it would want to do it. You can figure it out, help them. Those scores count, those contacts count, just like
I do
CW.
FT8. It ain't that hard.
Oh, yeah, but you don't have to be an expert at it. You can learn from the person ahead of you for a few minutes. And because those, even though we don't have a lot of CW go to operators, it'd be nice if we did. We have heard of people that, clubs that get, you know, Grandpa Jones that's been off the air for 30 years.
We might even have a newly licensed Russian operate our go-to station.
Right, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So, you know.
We're hoping, Andrew, we're hoping.
The point is, there's something there for every one of us. And whether, he's listed all these jobs, but you need to sign up. The biggest problem for the field day chairman and the chair captains and so forth is that people don't want to sign up. Don't be thinking that the only time you're going to be able to go is Saturday afternoon between 2 and 4. Come at 10 o'clock at night or whatever. You can be part of the safety team. But don't just say, well, I'll try to get there when I can. Look at the chart here and sign up. Look at these charts and sign up. You really do need to do that. We're a big club and we ought to have big operation. And really, I'm shocked that we could even be competitive in Class 3A. I really am. We typically beat GARs. They're in 7A. But they shut down a lot of stuff at night. They don't have all those people in chairs and so on. And we beat them head to head, not per transmitter divided by 3 or anything like that. We actually, our 3 transmitters beat their 7 almost every year.
I wanted to make this very clear because I have talked about being very aggressive with our activity, trying to maximize the number of points we get with the objective of being the top point getter in our class. And you might think, okay, well that's exclusive of having fun. Sorry folks, that ain't the case. If you've ever operated a multi contest station in a regular contest with a bunch of guys, the fellowship, the fun, the camaraderie is unmatched. And field day is much the same, except we got much better food. So don't think we're going to be just, you know, nose to the grindstone, pounding out QSOs without regard for everything else that's going on. This is going to be fun. Come and watch, enjoy, learn, participate, and have fun and appreciate the camaraderie that you have with your fellow ham radio geeks. Steve.
In field days past, one of the models was family day, fun day, and oh yeah, field day. And if you look at it a little from that way, all the points will be there anyway because everybody will be having fun.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
We've mentioned them a couple of times here. Do we have a GARS challenge? Is it back this year? They bowed off of it last year.
I'm not going to waste my time with those boys. We're going to go after Rochester, the Rochester DXS.
We can go after both of them. We can take them both.
Yeah, but we still don't, we need our ice cream.
Well, West or West?
Ian, what if we don't know how to contest? What do we do?
Show us and watch. Show up and watch. Ask questions, not of the operator, but of the rest of the kibitzers watching around. Say, what's he doing? How's he doing that? Why is he doing that? How does he figure out that it's KHY and not KAY? Watch and learn. And, you know, jump in. If there's an open slot and you want to try your hand at it, you know, if you can make one QSO in 60 seconds, I'm not going to sit here and time it, but just think about how long 60 seconds is. If you make one QSO in 60 seconds, and then make a second QSO in another 60 seconds, that's 60 QSOs an hour. Now, the odds are you're going to make one in, say, 30 seconds. And somebody's going to hear you working them, and then as soon as they say 73, they're going to call you next. And you get a second one in inside that one. Now you've got 2 in 1 minute. Look at that. You're well ahead of the curve now. So it's not that hard. We'll get you some training. If you want somebody to sit beside you and help log, we'll get somebody. If you want to do it, we'll make it happen. All right, yes, sir.
Brief explanation of 3A versus 4A.
Okay, thank you. I didn't go into that. In many years past, we've always gone into the whole explanation, and I didn't want to, but let me do it real briefly. There's A, B, C, D, E,
Yeah.
and F. Now, A is on generators, B is on batteries, C is mobile, D is at home for dummies.
Hey,
E is an EFC.
careful.
E, no, that's F.
Is at home on a generator.
Home on generator.
E is home on a generator.
F is.
And F is a EOC. All right? The number is a number of transmitters that you operate. Now,
Emergency operations.
the number of counting transmitters that you have. Counting transmitters are normally HF radios, but because you're allowed one free VHF, 6 meters, 2 meters, whatever. If you want to have 2, 3, or 4, then after that first one, they all count. So there are stations that run 23A. Don't know how they do it, but they run 23A.
And the GOTA doesn't count?
The GOTA doesn't count. So GOTA uses a different call sign, but then they count, their points count. Oh, they really count. But they don't count as one of our 3 transmitters.
And what call signs are we using for GOTA and for our major operation?
Pardon me? We are going to be using Kilo 4 Juliet Juliet. Y'all can start practicing it. Together now. Kilo 4 Juliet Juliet. That's our main station for CW and phones. And you probably have heard this call sign if you listen to the repeater at all. NF4GA. That's going to be our GOTA call sign. So we use NF4GA on GOTA and K4JJ on the CW and phone stations. All right, let's give away some prizes and go home before the Braves game is over.